radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
I'm live, everybody. I'm FaceTiming with somebody. You can hear it go off here. I was messing with somebody. Fade to Black. How you doing? I've had a crazy day around here, but we are live Monday, June 15th, 2026. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. All right. Where are we at? I've had a busy day. I'll get to that in just a second. But tonight, Stefan is with us live from Romania. We're going to be talking about human potential tonight. Tomorrow night, radio legend Clyde Lewis is with us. That's right. It's Clyde on Fade to Black. Ground Zero is coming to Fade to Black tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Greg Martins is here. He's a NASA engineer and he's also metaphysical. So we're going to be doing that on Wednesday. Thursday's an AMA, AJA, Ask Me Anything. And it will be our last show for a minute because right after that, I head to Peru. I'll be in Peru for 10 days or so. I think I'm back right around July 1st, July 2nd, right in there. I see that Ken Priest is in the chat. He's one of many Fadernauts that are coming on this tour. It's going to be amazing. And so you get to see all of Ken's pictures and stuff when we get back. All right. Where am I? Today, I was taping for Gaia today. And while all of that was going down, we had a pretty intense plane crash here. A B-52 crashed at Edwards a few miles away. And I heard it, and it was right before we started taping with Gaia. I heard it, and I went outside and then saw the smoke, and all 8 crew members did not survive. So that's going on, and then there are a couple of fires that are happening around my house. So all of this today, and getting to setting up for the week here on Fade to Black, of course, and then taping with Gaia and all of this distraction that was happening in our world all the way around us. So there you go. One last note. I do want to say this, that the last 7 days for our community has been pretty intense. It's been pretty intense because if you look at the last 7 days, what this community has been going through, we had the press conference at the Capitol building with David Grush and James Fox and Leslie Kane and our elected officials. We had that. Right after that, Maria Casillas, one of the missing scientist, and she worked at Los Alamos. Her body was found in New Mexico under very, very strange circumstances. How she was found, the position of the body, the handgun, 1 year after she disappeared, and everything around it is bizarre. So we had that. And then on Friday, we had our third wave of documents and videos dumped by the Department of War. And there was that. And then Friday night, after that document dump, and I don't think it's a coincidence that all of this was happening at the same time, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day premiered, and I went to go see that on Friday night. If you haven't seen the film, I'm not going to do anything about that, comment or spoilers. I will say this: Steven Spielberg is an amazing storyteller. The story behind this film is just as great as anything he has ever done, and he's got very high standards, and the film completely delivers. There are a lot of little Easter eggs in the film, and if you're part of this community, you're listening and you're watching, you're like, oh, isn't that interesting? And I did see a comment from Michael in social media where he said, man, I saw the movie and I felt like I was just watching Fade to Black. And Michael Texera, and he's not wrong. Yeah, that was crazy. And one last little thing, and then we'll get to Alex. We've got a great show coming up. So the film ends, and I'm there with a bunch of my friends, and the film ends, credits are rolling, and I get a tap on my shoulder. And this voice goes, Mr. Church. I was like, what? I didn't even want to look. It was the way it went, Mr. Church, come with us, please. And I turn around and goes, man, it is you. I'm here with my wife, and we saw you walk in, and you really do live in Palmdale. And I said, man, this is cool. And he goes, hey, and my friends were like, Church, you love this. And I said, you know what? I do. This is cool. Didn't expect this. Is a lot of fun. So yeah, we took a bunch of selfies, and those are posted on social media. But that was a fun way to cap off the movie. It was totally unexpected and a lot of fun. All right, let's get this show started. Alex Stefan, I've known Alex for a while. Very, 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 very talented. And human potential, something that we discuss a lot on the show, and I love having guests that can discuss this, that can discuss not only consciousness, but our abilities, our hidden abilities, the things that are inside of us that sometimes we just don't pay enough attention to. How do we take advantage of that? How do we make it happen? Is there training? Is there things that we can do? Right. And so all of this is so interesting to me. And I know that since a very young age, for me, I've had strange stuff happen, and that I just didn't understand. But what it was showing me is that there is something else just beyond us. There's something there. I think the ancients had a better grip on it than we do today. We've got so many things that pull us away from looking at our inner selves. But if you take a minute and just stop and think about yourself and what the possibilities are, that's the first step. That's the first stage. Do a hangout, listen to this show, check Alex out, check out all of his work. And we've got a lot of mutual friends between us that are really, really, really talented, including my producer here, Michelle Freed. She has got the gifts. One of these days, I'll talk Michelle into coming on to Fade to Black. But for now, let's get this party started. Live from Romania, Alex Stefan is with us. All of Alex's links for his work and how you can get involved, maybe get some training in, you can go and do that. Alex, man, how you doing?
Jimmy, how's it going? Thank you,
man. First off, just let me say this. I know it's very early in the morning. You are next to Dracula's castle over there in Romania right now, but you have the gift and you have amazing talent. We're going to discuss all of that. But you're also a very cool person. I enjoy hanging out with you. You've got a great smile. Show me those teeth. You got a great smile. And just thank you. And our community has warmly embraced you. What is that like for you? Because it's a strange journey to get to where you are, right? To get people to listen and to understand. But our community gets it, and they get you. What does that feel like to be so warmly received?
Jimmy, it's weird because I wasn't in this maybe a year ago even, or a year and a half ago.
Right.
I was in Melbourne, Australia, and I was doing telekinesis trainings, and I was not into this sort of thing at all. So a lot of this stuff is new. And when we kind of met, what was that? Conscious Life Expo. Things were
The first
like
time.
I was just learning stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know when we first met.
Conscious Life Expo with Dahlia.
Well, there was that for sure. Psy Games too.
I wasn't. I was supposed to be at Psy Games. I couldn't make it.
You were at Psy. That's one of my fondest memories is you and I hanging out at the Psy Games. Are you saying that that didn't happen?
No, it didn't. Some other universe.
Man, I mean, we had dinner. We didn't have dinner.
No. We had drinks maybe after.
Wow. No, I thought we did hang out at the Psy Games. But yeah, back to what you were saying about this community.
Yeah, man, it's unreal because I was doing telekinesis trainings in Australia. I did a few, and I was working with people that were not open to UFOs or paranormal or anything like this. And then next thing I know, I'm in this community. You know, I go on some podcasts and people are really open to this, and there's so much overlap with what's going on. So it's been amazing to be among people that actually take this stuff seriously, because it is things that you see, you do yourself. You know, it's not something that I'm doing. It's something that everybody does. So the fact that people are taking it seriously, it's amazing, and people are very open to hearing more about it.
Where were you born?
Romania, actually.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because, and you and I were talking about this earlier. It's the culture with people that are raised a certain way, their foundation. You cannot, whatever it is, you could be raised Christian, Catholic, atheist, and that's the religious side. It could be a political thing. It could be a scientific. If your parents are scientists, you are raised a certain way, and you are not going to reason somebody away from their foundation. You can't talk them out of it. If your parents are physicists, you're not going to tell somebody the scientific method doesn't work or whatever. You're not. It's a different. And in Romania, that is a part of the world with old traditions. That's it, and that's the foundation of the culture, isn't it? And it must have had an influence on you with your journey in consciousness.
Yeah, massively. So when I was 2, I moved to Canada, Toronto, and then I grew up there, went to uni there, and then I went to the UK. So Romania the culture had more of an impact from my parents, but they're always very open-minded. And here people are very superstitious, right? And we talked about the stuff like Baba Yaga, vampires, werewolves, all that stuff comes from here. And that allows for people to be more open-minded and have more of a fertile ground to be able to receive things, both intuitively, but also as part of your belief system, to be able to go into this kind of stuff. And, like we all know, it was really like the Russians and the former communist bloc that studied this stuff, or at least openly talked about studying this stuff. And in this society, it's like remote viewing it's normal. It's not something that's unknown or something that is taboo or that people don't believe.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when it comes to well, specifically PK and telekinesis, when the United States started to take a more serious look at it, they were taking a more serious look at it because the Soviet Union was taking a serious look at it,
Yeah.
right? And they didn't want to get behind. They wanted to keep up with the research that was going on over in the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of stuff happened behind closed doors, and they just like with UFOs, right? They put it out in the media like this stuff is, it's a joke, it's a hoax, don't take it seriously, a psyop. And then when you're trying to bring this stuff out and talk to people about it, you're not taken seriously. So coming back to the community thing, coming into this and like everybody like looking at me, serious, dead set in the eyes, like, yeah, like that's amazing. Because I didn't have that in Australia. I didn't have that in Melbourne.
Why do you think that is? I mean, obviously it's the culture, but there's always something that feeds that foundation. There's a piece of reality that cements it all together. Why is it that some cultures just don't get there?
I think so. I have a bit of a background in psychology, right, and how belief systems work and how the unconscious mind plays a role, and a lot of that goes into my trainings because of my background in change work as well, working with that. And one of the things is it's that brainwashing that happens, right? The limiting beliefs that we have over decades of time, where physical reality is in one way, it's a certain way. You have organizations, religious organizations, governments. And when they all say it's like, this is how it is, here's the box, and there's nothing else out there. And then you're trained and you're educated to live in that box and see those walls. There's no way you're going to question anything outside of that. But people that are already on the brink, they're exploring outside. It's like, hey, what else is going on? Like, are there other life forms? Are there entities? Are there whatever? That already, it's like you're already out of the box and you're thinking outside of that. So it's just it just happens. And the Romanian culture, Russian culture, American culture as well, it's much more open to other things happening and other things going on that we don't see.
How when you were younger, at what point did you start to make the transition of focusing on consciousness? I think that everybody has like a key moment. What was it for you?
So I was lucky. My parents, they would go to these garage sales on the weekends, and in Canada and Toronto, there'd be lots of those. And they would love to buy books, and because you could get books for like, a cent or 10 cents. Like this is their library, actually. I'm just visiting them here. And they would get all sorts of books. And I remember some of the books that they would pick up would be ones like on ESP, extrasensory perception, ones on remote viewing, ones on like psychic abilities. And I would be interested in that stuff. This is like at the age of like 6, 7, 8, I would be reading these things. And then really, really early on, I picked up Silva Ultramind, if anybody's familiar with that, the Silva Ultramind method with Jose Silva. And that's about like going into a lower brainwave state, alpha, and doing remote viewing, doing healing, doing all these things. That's when everything started to switch, because my parents sent me on a workshop when I was, I don't know, like 9, 10, 11, 12, like really, really early. And that opened up everything because I got some really good results at that time.
The brain of a child is more open to this, isn't it? Because you haven't been told no, right?
Yeah. So there's no conditioning. That's why there's different trainings that do with psychic development and abilities and stuff. And it's very easy with kids because you can just show a kid something and they'll pick it up. Or you can just tell them that, hey, this is real, and they'll be able to pick it up. But if you're training adults, people that are, over 18, 20 and older, now you have decades of conditioning on what's going on and what to expect. So when you're working with adults, you got to do a lot of other steps ahead of time to prime people, to frame things, to open up belief systems so that these things can like just just happen naturally, and they're not expecting anything. It's a double-edged, it's a balancing act, right? Because if I come in and I'm like, hey, check this unbelievable thing that's possible, like, wow, you know, you can move something with your mind. If I have that frame, then anybody listening to that is going to be like, oh, this is unbelievable, this is unlikely, it must take a lot of skill to be able to do this. So you can approach it that way, but then you can make it really hard for people to pick it up. So you got to approach it in a way like, hey, this is normal. Like, check what I can do that I've learned I can do, and anybody else can do it, and look how easy it is. And just like throw them right into that.
Well, Dahlia is a really good example of that, isn't she? You know,
Yeah.
where the way that she teaches and everything, she is just like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Right? That's her attitude.
Yeah.
Everybody can do, and once you hear it like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not years and years of training, or you have to be born with this special ability. No, we all have it inside of us. Let me show you. And that's the way to approach this, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I keep insisting on. It's like, you don't need to meditate. You don't need to, hold a certain kind of a diet. You don't need to fast. You don't need to do any of these things. These things are readily available to anyone. It's just a matter of believing that you can and going into it with, curiosity, fun, enjoyment, play, exploration.
Now, what's your definition of telekinesis?
Yeah, so that's something that trips up a few people. Telekinesis is more of a term that came from the Russians, and it has to do with moving objects at a distance with mind. And telekinesis is a subset of the bigger thing, which is psychokinesis. And psychokinesis, or PK, telekinesis is TK, but psychokinesis is influencing matter with your mind. And an example of TK is moving a psi wheel, or moving a can, or moving like a piece of foil. Psychokinesis can be like, you might have seen us do, like sticking things to walls, or magnetizing forks or needles, or spoon bending. That's psychokinesis. Or what they usually do in studies and research in parapsychology is affecting random number generators, because that is a very clear, objective review of what is actually going on, and you can measure the results and progression and what's going on.
What ultimately, so let's stay on, man, I don't know which version of this we want. Okay, no, let's just go with PK. Let's go with the top umbrella. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with PK. Ultimately, we'll discuss developing this in human potential more in a bit, but ultimately, what do you think is going on? My take, and you can tell me that I'm wrong, but I kind of follow what Dean Radin says, that we are manipulating stuff at the quantum level, very, very small things, a little bit. But it's a lot of those small things being affected a little bit that moves into big change. All right. Now that's the scientific way of looking at it, kind of pulling the woo out of it. What, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think is going on?
So I like what Dean Radin says, because also I have a background in numbers. I have a background in quantitative economics, a degree in that, and that I come from like a very probabilistic kind of worldview, almost like materialistic. And yeah, I like that, because there's a probability curve, right? And there's some randomness that happens, and then with our conscious mind, you're able to affect the randomness. But then what happens is, I've trained thousands of people now. People are doing things that are way outside of probability, like way, way outside of probability. And one of the things I've noticed is we tend to see it because we're used to, like, you're playing basketball or you're playing football. All these skills are like skill development, right? It's like you get better as you keep putting more time. You practice more, you get better, you get better. with psychic abilities, it doesn't seem like that's the case. So we have this frame, even me saying it, right? I'm saying psychic abilities. There's a frame of psychic abilities which suggests it's an ability or it's in a skill and you need to progress in it. That doesn't seem to be the case with practically everybody that I've worked with. People make huge jumps in skill development, but you have people that are able to do some crazy things right off the bat, and they only do it once, that one time, and then they can't go back. So my current model, my theory about what I think is going on, is it has to do with belief. And that's where all the hypnotherapy and all the psychology comes in, because we're playing with beliefs. So if you believe you can do it, then you're much more likely to being able to produce that outcome. Because there's a lot of stories of people being able to move cans right off the bat for like one time, and then they have to, go back and then progress back up to that, or other crazy things like that. So the model that this is skill based or ability based, and you need to progress, doesn't seem to hold true. It seems like, hey, I have an intention to do something. I set the intention to do that, and if I believe, like if that's part of my reality, then I'll be able to move it.
What did you make of? Let's stay right here. Okay, let's stay right here. It's fascinating to me. What did you make of the series? And I know you've watched them all, right? All those black and white films that came out of Russia, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I could not stop watching that stuff. It was fascinating. What did you make of that run in the media that Russia did? What was her name? What was that main lady's name? I'm not trying to stump you. Don't worry about it. But she was like the star of a lot of these.
I'm trying to remember
film clips. I'll look it up. My producers.
So she's the one that was. They did tons of research on her, and like that thing that you're doing like that. She was like trying to use her force, and she's trying to move stuff.
Yeah.
They did other things where she attempted to stop a frog's heart, and she did successfully. And then they also did it with a person as well, where the guy nearly went into cardiac arrest. So 100%, I believe that stuff is true. It's not something unexpected. It's not something that you out of our realm. I think it was Nina Kalugina.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah.
100% that stuff is real, and they just picked up on one person that was like an outlier, did a lot of research on them, and then they kind of shut down or closed the public stuff on it, because when they found out, hey, you can actually affect life force or affect the heart of somebody, you don't want that stuff to get out there anymore. So I'm sure they continued on with what they would term as remote influencing.
And the debunkers just came out in droves, right? And everybody was just trying to shut that down. Do you think that program was officially closed down by the Soviet Union, or is it still happening in Russia today?
No way. Hell no. Imagine the military gets their hands on somebody that is able to like affect somebody's heartbeat at a distance. If you have something like that, you're going to throw in as much money as you can into that. That's like better than any assassin weapon, anything like what? That's how you can take down a country.
Exactly. And that's why remote viewing is such, for me, to say that, the NSA or the CIA is not interested in that. You know what? Bullshit. Right?
Yeah.
You're not putting anybody in harm's way. You're sitting in a cubicle, right, over here. You're not paying for plane tickets, hotel rooms, and getting your cover blown. No, all of that it's a very cost-effective way to gather information, isn't it? And to exert influence on whoever that you want to exert that influence on. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then the question is, okay, so if that's happening, then what are we doing? What's America doing? What are other countries doing? What kind of programs do we have? And then do we have defense against that? So I've spoken to a few interesting people who are more on that side of things. and governments have programs where they have people that are blocking remote viewers. So there's active personnel that are actively blocking remote viewing, remote influencing, all this stuff. So there's become like an arms race, and like the shield and the sword moving on in the psychic warfare game, which isn't even a thing, like nobody really knows about.
Nina Kulagina.
Nina Kulagina.
Kulagina.
She's pretty cool.
She was a rock star, man. She was like literally a rock star. She was fascinating to watch. That was a really big deal in the 60s and 70s. And at that time, excuse me, at that time we had this huge resurgence globally and here in the United States of telepathy, of ESP, of TM, right? All of these things, and the books were coming out, and there was this huge wave, and then here comes Nina, right, at the same time. So she was a rock star in that whole movement, but people started to recognize that there was something else out there, that we weren't just part of this 2 and 3D reality, that there was something else. Did you always have that gift? And when did you start to realize things were moving for you?
Yeah, so with that workshop that I did, that's when I started to like have more validation, and I was playing around with it when I was younger. And when I actually did telekinesis, I was in high school at the time. I think I was 15 or 16, and I saw a YouTube video of a guy moving a psi wheel. A psi wheel is basically like you take a tin foil, a square or rectangular tin foil piece, and you put it on a needle. So the tin foil is like, it looks like an umbrella, and you're moving that tin foil on top of the needle. And because there's such little friction on the needle, right, on where it's sitting, it can be easily influenced. And because it's a tin foil, it's super lightweight, so you can move it easily. And I saw this video of this guy doing it under a glass, under a dome. And he was controlling it. He was making it move left, making it move right. And I already had all of this, belief that, okay, ESP is real. I've done some stuff. I've done some remote viewing. I did Reiki when I was younger as well. So I'm like, okay, this stuff is like possible, And I made a psi wheel, and it took me a bit of time. I think it was like, it wasn't immediate. It was like 15 or 20 minutes. But then I got like the slightest movement on the thing, like, and you could see an aluminum foil like shines, right? So the first time it happened, it was just like this huge moment, and like it wasn't a lot. It was just a tiny bit. And even then, I remember like I was like, "This is the wind," or it's
I know. I did the same thing. I have a psi wheel. I have the round wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, well, yeah, I have one. And so the first time that I messed with it, and I was alone, okay, and I'm just like, okay, all right. I'm gonna tell you, I had the same feeling that you're talking about. I get down there with my hand, and it's perfectly still, and I'm alone. I don't have people around me to influence me or whatever, right? It's different when you're alone. And I put my hands down, and I looked, and that thing started moving, man.
Yeah.
And I was all right, I'm gonna get it to change direction. And it's not, you're right, it's not training. Just believe that you can do it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it. You can take it to all these other levels for sure. But that first moment, and do it alone, right? Do it alone, right? Under glasses, the glass dome thing with the needle and the tip, that's a really good way to get started. If you can do that. Or I have one that's made. It sits on a base with the black and white spinner top on it. But yeah, I can't tell you the excitement that I thought, man, this is too easy. Like,
Yeah, and
anybody can do
the,
this.
the thing is, when you first do it, right, you're like, oh, it was current or it was wind.
Heat.
Of
I thought
course,
it
the
was
windows,
heat.
heat.
Yeah,
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 off the hands.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
all of these things, and you're doing it. And the thing is, like, keep going with it because at first you're going to be doubting yourself, second guessing, is it something else? But pretty soon, it doesn't take long before like a little bit of movement turns into a full rotation, and then it goes the other way, and then it starts going and going smoothly and fluidly. And even then, you might be, oh, well, no, it was always doing that. But I anybody that's starting off and they're doing it themselves, I recommend take a video of what it's like at the beginning. Because at the beginning, it has a very particular movement. It's only like wobbling a little bit or just twisting a little bit. And then, after doing it for a few days, a week, the movement is going to be completely different, even though you might be still thinking maybe it's the heat from the hands or it's electromagnetism or something like that.
At the Psy Games, this is what was really fun for me at the Psy Games, where we had I think 4 competitors on stage, and each had a wheel, and there was a video camera. So we had big screens up
Hmm.
for the audience, for each of the participants, and listening to the audience scream like that and yell like it was a rock concert, right? Because for them, because now they're seeing this really happen in front of them. And the guy that won, it was his first time.
Hmm.
And I've seen him now at a few conferences. He's never been a part of any of this. He got talked into going to the Psy Games by a friend and then got talked into getting on stage, and he did. Alex, he had that thing spinning like the wheel of a Ferrari.
Yeah. Yeah. David's got talent. David's got some serious talent.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he was on our training in Sedona. We did a training and he was on it.
Man, and he was so nervous when he was on
Yeah.
stage, and I was trying to get him to calm down. And then watching what he was doing, it was incredible. And his technique, because he was just somebody just trying to manipulate the wheel in any way that he could. And he was so focused, and it was, I'm telling you, it was nuts, man. It was
Yeah,
nuts.
that's something.
He was at Contact in the Desert. Did you see him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he stepped on the elevator and he looks at me. He goes, "Church, Psy Games." I go, "Dude, what's up?" Because, man, I can't get away from this stuff. I love it. But yeah, his life has changed. For somebody that, like you're saying, you can just come into this. You have it in front of you. If you just believe that you can, that's the first step. And it's a remarkable thing. Now, for you, what did you start to do next? Did you look at the other realms because everything is connected? Telepathy? Did you try to start fires?
Yeah, of course I tried to start fires. I grew up on Dragon Ball Z and like Mortal Kombat.
Exactly.
Like,
Right.
yeah, that was I totally did that, but my TK journey was kind of abruptly ended because I practiced and practiced for a few weeks, months, and I was getting better, and like I was getting the foil moving faster, and then I was getting it like clockwise, and then at one point I was like, okay, I'll have 2. So I had 2 and I was affecting 2, and then I had 3 and then 4 and 5. So like I had my computer desk, like a corner desk, and I had all of the different style wheels and playing around with them. And then I told my friend at the time, my very close friend, what I was doing. And I remember like we're walking back to school from a lunch break. And I tell him, and he just looks at me and he just like bursts out laughing, like ha 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 ha, like intentionally like unnecessarily laughing way too hard, and there was other kids there. I got like embarrassed. It was a traumatizing moment, because when I went back that evening and tried it again, I regressed like massively. I went back a few weeks in terms of my progress, and I didn't learn my lesson, because I practiced again, I progressed again, I got back to where I was before, and then I told my other friend, and the guy gave me the same reaction. And again, I regressed, and that just kind of that's kind of the time when I stopped with TK. But I was still in other realms. Like I was always experimenting in like magical stuff, like the occult, witchcraft, that sort of stuff. Like what else is going on? Telepathy, ESP, definitely, like psychic abilities and stuff. And what else is going on? What else is real? So I've always kind of went into that, but the TK journey that I had at the time ended with that unfortunate encounter.
Yeah, kids can be cruel.
Horrible.
Yeah, kids can be cruel. At what point do you? And I'm going to ask this question, but I'm going to preload it. I've only started to discover that everything is connected, like as an adult, recently. I had always thought that everything was just their own thing, and it doesn't matter, And now it's like everything is connected, and you realize that. But at what point do you start to realize that, you know what, man, it's all connected? When did you started to put it together?
That was actually recent. So back
Yeah.
then, in my teens, everything was separate. There's TK, there's telepathy, there's magical stuff, there's like, all these other realms.
Life after death.
Life after death.
Yeah.
UFOs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was only like in the last year that I started to see, the through lines between everything. And it started to really happen during when I was in Australia, in Melbourne, and I trained this hypnotherapist who I trained with as well, and then he came on my training, and he was really into UFOs and doing sky watches, and I've never done that. And I'm like, at that time, I was still like I believe aliens are real, and I believe, sure, yeah, but like how accessible is it? And we went on a sky watch together, and we saw orbs, we saw like some like red dots flying and like beeping, some green ones. It was like super a lot of activity that night. And I was like, this is crazy, because I've always looked at the sky and I've never seen anything, and now here we are and stuff is going on. And he puts me on to a few things, and he had me watch this interview with the guy from Skywatcher, Jake Barber.
Oh yeah, sure.
And he had an interview, and he was like, organizations and agencies, they have psionic teams that they bring around to call down the crafts and to like work with them. And that's when I made like the first connection, that holy crap, your ability to move objects or see things or influence reality might be able to actually call crafts down and move them around. And ever since then, I've been, okay, hold on, let's try to apply the TK and the PK stuff to calling down aliens and seeing what's going on. And it was this thing, well, two completely separate things, right? UFOs and psi skills. Like, I never thought they had anything to do with each other. No, there's a huge through line between them. And
it's
then
completely connected.
Completely.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. And all the stuff is connected. Like, you have like occult stuff, right? The Nazis were practicing occult things, and they were studying and researching the occult. Why? Because they then got into connection. They contacted some aliens, right? And on some other beings. And they were also using remote viewing and stuff to work with them and to communicate. So like, there's all of these different through lines with these seemingly separate areas.
Yeah, we were doing the same thing over here in the States. and we had these different councils, contacting the nine, and a very, this wasn't just the fringes of society. This was also very successful families and business people and that were looking into this, and it was happening all over the place here in the United States. And it wasn't, people want to look at, well, this was what was her name, Maria Orsich, or the one that was working with Hitler.
Madame Blavatsky.
No, that was much earlier. No, I think it was Maria Orsich.
Maria Orsich.
Bill, what was the what was her name over in
The one that channeled the technology.
She had long hair. She always dressed in white. It's gonna pop up here. I'll have it here in a second. But it wasn't just limited to her. It was no,
Maria Ryder.
Oh, man,
Maria Ryder.
man. Okay, here it's Bill.
Hitler's mistress, Maria Ryder, for 3,000.
Was that? I thought her last name was Orsich.
Orsich. I don't know, maybe.
I could be wrong. I'm waiting. Bill, Jessica, John, somebody do my job for me.
The one that channeled the technology, right? To be able to like go to travel.
Yes. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah. Maria Orsich.
Orsich.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So it wasn't just her. This was going on all around the world. We don't need to, spend much time on Maria and the Nazi side of this, but it was fascinating for the rest of the world to start to open up their minds to this. And it's weird how it kind of got shut down, right around World War II, and it didn't have its resurgence again until, 1970. And then prior to that, you have to like go back to the Renaissance period and those ages in Europe. And then before that, it's like ancient Egypt. It was like we got amnesia and forgot about all of those abilities.
It's like you have it always happens, right? If you have a lot of money, and you have a lot of time on your hands, and it's like stuff like, okay, yeah, let's see what else is going on. That's why during the Renaissance you had all the bourgeoisie, the aristocrats that were going into this and playing around with this kind of stuff. And I reckon that when this stuff kind of like went underground again after World War II, that must have been a psyop. Would have been a psyop to be able to push people off of it, to lead them astray, to not look into this kind of stuff, because this is dangerous stuff to be able to channel things or to work with other entities or get in contact with other entities and get information. That's not just dangerous for people, but dangerous for, it's like a national security risk, right? That's how it was imposed.
It becomes a belief system.
Yeah.
And that's the spear of destiny or whatever, right? The arc and trying to get, well, it doesn't matter if those things are real. The belief in them is probably more dangerous. And you know what I mean? How did you start? We're going to set this up before we go to the break. How do you teach? How do you make that transition into teaching telekinesis and applying it? What is it that you do? Take me through some of the steps.
So it depends if I'm working one-on-one with someone or if I'm working in a training environment where I have multiple people. Um, Regardless, though, so I apply my background in with hypnosis, with hypnotherapy, and psychology to prime people, because this kind of stuff, like you said, it's like you have these limiting beliefs, right? Like 3D reality. You have this expectation. You've never you've never been able to move your hand through, like books or glass or anything. Like you have expectations of how things are. So when my trainings or when I'm working with people, I work on an unconscious level first because you need to make that switch. You need to open people's belief systems up to be able to receive and even consider that this is possible. Not just that this is possible, because a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, this is
That,
real,
that's
but it's real out
impossible.
there.
Right.
Yeah, it's not real for them. Like that's crazy. Because if it was real for them, like what does that mean for them? And that's another thing. We've had blind people on the training that we're able to see. So there's an identity there that people have, and like if you're blind and if you've been blind for your entire life, 30 years, 40 years, you're stuck. You're gonna be stuck in that identity that you're blind. So to be able to see, that's a massive leap, and that's with all of us as well. That's an extreme example, but us, it's like this is who I am. I'm Alex. I'm Jimmy. I know how Jimmy operates. I know how Alex operates. I know what I can expect. So you start at the foundational level of opening things up, like creating room for possibility, creating room for, the potential of something happening, and then ease people into exercises and into trainings and stuff. So it always starts for me with the psychology, with the unconscious mind and our belief systems.
Who were the two blind gentlemen with Dahlia?
We had a few actually. So there was John Herzog, there was Sean Jordan, and
who's
Justin.
who's the big guy?
Sean Jordan, the one with the fake eyes, with the prosthetic eyes.
That guy is so cool.
Yeah,
that guy is so cool. And then, so I took pictures and I met them both. How are they doing with this?
Same way people do remote viewing, right? It's like
right.
You're accessing information that's outside of your body. And I subscribe to the theory, Tom Campbell, with My Big Toe, the idea that everything is informational. Like there's the 3D reality, sure, yeah, but then there's everything is information. It's being rendered, and that works with this what we're seeing, because if they're able to, if no pun intended, if they're able to see stuff, or see behind things, even because a lot of people think if you get this ability, you can only see stuff that's around you, like around your physical eyes. It's like, no, man. If you have a blindfold on, right, and you can see through the blindfold, that means you can see through the door. You can see across into another room. You can see anywhere. It's basically remote viewing, local remote viewing, and the same way it's with that, where you're probably accessing some piece of information outside of you, and then you're bringing it into your unconscious mind, your body, and then that's being translated into senses. And for Sean and Justin and John, it's visual senses. Like they're starting to create images. They're starting to see colors, see shapes, see letters.
I was messing with them so much. They're very nice,
Yeah.
But they were so happy to be at CITD and people coming up to them, and I did the same thing. And we're talking. I mean, no vision, right? Right, no
Prosthetic
vision.
eyes.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, how many fingers am I holding up? And I'm doing this, right? Sean goes, dude, you're holding up, you're changing. It's like, dude, how do you? And I thought I was just being a smart ass. He smart assed me right back, and he just laughed. And but it was really funny to me. I'm cracking a joke, but I'm doing it so I can add some levity to my uncomfortable part that is seeing something that is absolutely impossible. I mean, to the normies.
Sean,
and he's got his walking stick, right? He's holding it. And Alex, everybody will tell you this is a big guy. Like he's
yeah,
a big dude. And
he's
he's
lost
holding
100
his
pounds though.
really.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
big,
yeah, yeah. He's doing well.
he could play some football. So he's
Yeah.
holding his stick, and I'm there. Hey, how many fingers am I holding up? He's like, dude, quit moving your fingers. And he just laughed. I was like, wow. Dahlia's just laughing. Those guys that's the thing. It's human potential, and the brain is powerful. We do not understand the brain. We do not. Do you understand the brain? No, right? There's so much there. There is so much potential. It's amazing to see. Um, we're gonna pick this up before we go to the break. As the connectiveness of all of this starts to unravel in front of you, does it make just everything else easier for you, knowing that, well, if I understand this, well, then this applies too as well? You're not retraining. It's a lot of the same thing. The same tools are being utilized.
Yeah, so that's an important piece that I try to get across to people, because like we were talking earlier, we have this idea that there's TK, there's PK, there's remote viewing, like all these things are separate and there's separate boxes. But if you're thinking like that, then what's going to happen is your belief to when you enter a new skill, quote unquote skill, is going to start from the beginning again. So you start from ground zero. But that's not how these things are, right? They overlap, they bleed into each other. They might be the same thing. So when you know you can do something, one of these, then going into the other ones, like going with full belief. And with something like PK, right? Psychokinesis, telekinesis, what's the difference with healing? Like, how is healing any different? How is energetic healing any different? You're still affecting matter. You're influencing reality, right? You're changing, and it might be even easier if you're healing yourself, like you're changing your cells, or if you're healing somebody. Or what's the difference with manifestation? Like when you manifest something, you want a result, you want a job, you want a career, you want an opportunity. You're just rearranging reality in such a way and influencing it to bring about the outcome that you want. So these skills, these, again, quote unquote skills, they are 100% applicable in real life. And there's no differentiation between what you're doing with like remote viewing, where you're able to see stuff, and getting better decision making, better problem solving, or affecting reality, influencing the 3D world and manifesting something that you want in your life. It's the same thing. And getting better at these psychic skills translates into, okay, what kind of world do I want to live in? What's the reality that I want to create? What do I want my life to look like? And that's the trick. That's the key. Like, it's not just about the training. It's not just about the training environment where you've got the psi skills and you're doing some cool stuff. Right. What does that mean for you outside of that environment? What does that mean for your life? What does that mean for your family, the world around you?
It allows you to calm the frig down. You know what I mean? It a lot of anxiety, because it answers so many different questions. And once somebody sees it, you kind of, it's okay to witness something so you can change your mind. That's fine. Remember when you and I were on stage, and Lidu and Dahlia were on stage, and you were assisting. I left you guys alone, right? Mm-hmm. But I was standing there, I was watching you, and having the audience see this happen, that is just as important as a good lecture or a good book, because they're seeing it. And you are helping facilitate the astonishment and the wonder that is going on in the audience. What is that like for you to see everybody light up watching this demonstration?
Yeah, that's fun. That's a lot of fun. It's like taking a shot of tequila. There's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
an
You're not
immediate like
wrong.
wow, and
Yeah.
and you feel it as well because you're resonating with everyone, and you see and you shift like people's mindset and perceptions shift, and that's also why it's like when people see that stuff, it's so powerful because then they can believe they can do it, which is going back to UFOs and crafts, the hitchhiker effect. I reckon it's kind of similar with the hitchhiker effect because once you see something happening and now it's part of your reality, now I can expect that sort of thing happening. So when somebody sees that, even if it's in the audience and they're seeing that stuff on stage and it's not done, that's the key. It's not done like a magic trick, because if you go and
No,
you
it's
watch
not exactly. You're exactly right. No, it is innocent and normal.
yeah,
That's what's going. That's not
yeah,
any. Let me pull a rabbit out of the hat.
yeah,
No, no. This is a very natural thing with a child that has found her human potential,
yeah,
and it's unreal, man. The first we just blew past the commercial break. Let's extend this just a minute because you're right. The first time you see something in the sky that is done with intention, I remember the first I was with somebody, he goes, "Okay, man, see that right there?" I said, "Yeah, it's a star, it's a planet. It's gonna blink right now." And damn it, Alex, blip, right? I was like, "Oh, what? What?" Now, and here was my thought, the same thought that you had. It's the same sky above my house that's over here.
yeah,
It's the same sky. What have I been missing? What is it? Oh, I'm not looking up. I'm not asking for this. I'm not intentionally. It's bizarre. Now, if I go outside, I look up, I'll see something.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's great. It's the same sky, right? Oh, we're
yeah,
gonna do a sky watch. Well, you know what? Are you saying that you're doing that 2 towns over and you're seeing stuff? But these towns over here, there's nothing above them? No, it's everywhere. And that's the crazy part. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Alex Stefan, live from Romania. Tonight, we're discussing human potential. Alex, you stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now.
Contact in the Desert back. Come see a legendary lineup of iconic speakers, including George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, Daniel Sheehan, George Noory, Whitley Strieber, Chris Ramsey, Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, and many more. Join us in beautiful Indian Wells, California, May 28th through June 1st, as we explore infinite realms. Get your tickets now at contactinthedesert.com.
I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We've got a great week coming up here on Fade to Black. And then I turn around and head to Peru. And so we'll be shut down here for a little bit, but I'll be back the first week of July. I wanted to say this really quick. There was, before I bring Alex back on, he's listening to me, is Jesse Hawthorne was on with us on Thursday. And one of the comments that I made to Jesse, one that I've mentioned before on the show, but all of us, and I mean the normies, everybody on this planet has experienced deja vu. And if you ever, if I'm talking to somebody that's like, well, I mean, have you ever had a deja vu? Well, yeah. Okay. Well, how can you understand that and accept that and then be closed down with everything else? That's a demonstration clearly that there is something wonderful going on. And I was confused by it at such a young age that it just suggested to me that there was something else. And that started me on my journey. What is perception? What is consciousness? How do we view the world? And that was my childlike sense of wonder that sent me on my path, and things have not changed. I just mentioned to Alex earlier that I didn't start to really put all of this together. And you're so insightful with this, Alex, how you brought UFOs and ET into the subject, because I just started to, after, thousands of interviews, it's like I could have somebody on the show talking about the troll under the bridge or fairies or UFOs or life after death or whatever the subject was. And I started to ghosts, right? And entities and are we just talking about the same thing? Will science one day just unravel it all? Like Einstein, E equals MC square, right? The foundation of it. Are we going to do that? Is science going to just knock that last domino over, and we're going to back up and just go, well, it's all the same thing, right? It's consciousness. And right now science is struggling with consciousness, and it's like the last frontier that they have to deal with. But what's going to happen, Alex, when we find out that it's the manipulation of one specific atom or one specific thing that is the key to everything? I think that we're right on the edge of that.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because I've just started getting into sacred geometry. I don't know if you're familiar with that kind of stuff.
Oh yes, oh yes.
It's mind-blowing. Like there's these patterns and there's these like basically building blocks of the world, of the universe, that they just exist, and they're not mutable. You can't change them. And from these few little building blocks, you can create anything else. So some of that stuff already exists, right? And then the question is, well, what's actually going on? Like, how does that apply? How does it work? How can we use it to influence reality, or how can we use it to be telepathic or anything like that? I think we are at that point. Like, people talk about, oh, it was so much cooler when, back in the, I don't know, in the 60s, or so much cooler in Roman times or medieval times or something. It's like, no way. Like, now is the most interesting time to be alive. There's no time, in my opinion, in the known history of the world that is more interesting and better to be alive than now, because now is when all of this stuff is coming out. UFOs, psychic abilities, magic, all of these things, all these crazy things. Like, there's this mass disclosure that's going on, and like a mass awakening of abilities. It's crazy how many people are being open to this and are able to do it and are picking it up easily. So, yeah.
The argument that we have from physicists and the hard sciences in general is the reason for them. They don't want to say the C word, consciousness. And their reasoning behind that is, well, it's the scientific method. You need to put it in the laboratory. You need to have an idea. You need to have a theory. Then you need to test it. And you need to prove it. Then you need to repeat it. And we can't do that with consciousness. So therefore, we're just going to leave it alone. And my response to that, and I get that, they're scared, right? Because they can't do those things. But yet, the fact that you can say those words, that's consciousness. That's it. Aren't you interested in that? Right? Why? And here's the other point that why I think that science should take a hard look at this. They will also tell you that it's chemical.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chemical process, right? Your brain is undergoing this, it develops in the womb, you come out and these things happen, and it's a chemical process, and then consciousness arises from that. Okay, prove it. That sounds like something that can go into a lab. If that's the case, check it out. And they won't.
Yeah, man, because it's scientific method is not about, it's not about observing phenomena and recording those phenomena and just repeating it, which it's supposed to be about that. They nothing will be accepted unless they can explain how the thing works.
Right.
So with consciousness, it's like, how does it happen? They can't do that. And with stuff that we're doing, like psi abilities, that stuff is repeatable. Like, it's so repeatable. That's where parapsychology research is going. It's been repeatable, but they can't explain how. So if they can't explain how, then that becomes, okay, no, this is taboo. We can't go there. And this has been, unfortunately, the West, we've had this kind of thinking behind these kinds of effects and these kinds of phenomena. If we can't explain how it happens, then it doesn't exist. But then they've had, like, the Russians, where, okay, we observe the phenomena, cool. What can we do with it? Where does it go? And I remember when I had this chat with a Russian psychologist, psychiatrist. Like, he was very well respected, and he did a lot of good work. He was a PhD in a number of areas, and when we talked about his methods and the methods that I used when I was working with clients at the time, he was talking about stuff like the energy body, and he was talking about, like, working with the conscious of the other person to help them shift in a therapeutic context. Like, not like, he wasn't an energy worker. He wasn't some sort of anything in the woo field. He was fully scientific, and his method involved being able to shift the spirit or the consciousness of the other person to get the results, which is, there's, like, nowhere in Western therapy that they would even
in any science. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right. But yet, if there's a crazier part to this, then there's this. In physics, one of the things, and it's foundational, one of the things that they teach in physics is you can change a particle's state by observing it. It's like, wait a minute, man. You can't have it both ways. What do you mean you can change something by just looking at it? The double slit experiment, and is a light a wave or is it a particle? Well, not until you look at it. Well, that's about as woo as anything that I could do in this community, right? But yet they're okay with that, and then start to discuss consciousness and they freak out. It's like, you can't have it both ways.
And they've also done experiments where consciousness observing those things can change it retroactively. So, like, something is being sent, and already, like, there should have been a choice whether A or B, and then it's only until it's observed that, okay, that's when it chooses what it is, and then it changes from what it was when it was created, which is kind of similar to the Mandela effect, right? Like, you're talking about the deja vu. What about with the Mandela effect? Like, is there nobody that has seen that stuff and they're like, hey, hold on, no, I remember. I'm one of the ones that does remember. I thought Mandela did die in prison. Do you remember it as that, or do you remember?
I do, man. I did so many shows on this. My mind, I was so exhausted with my mind being blown and perplexed with the decision of either I've lost my fucking mind and I can't remember anything, or something else is happening here that is equally as crazy. And I guess when you take it to the next step is millions of people are misremembering just like me. There's something else here. It's not everybody misremembering. All right. And that's the skeptical view of that and how it is occurring is flat wrong. Skeptics are
Jimmy,
when it yes.
Something I wanted to mention on the Mandela effect. I came across this Sufi guy. It was a video where he explained, there's a lot of the higher religious people, they'll end up memorizing word for word the book, the Bible, the Quran, Torah. This guy was saying that the reason they memorize the book word for word is because it happens that every now and then the book changes. The book changes across in the entire world, but not the memories of the people that memorized it.
Right.
Which is crazy. And then I spoke to Lidu, Dalia's daughter, who's telepathic and speaks to entities and everything. And she said that you can change the past, even she can change the past, but the past can be changed, but the memory of the consciousnesses cannot be changed. So that's what's going on. That's why we'll have these memories of things, and then like reality, history. It's like, wait, how did that happen? But it's in these people that have been memorizing the book for thousands of years. They have the reasoning for it. Like they already know that this is happening.
One of the best examples I have of that is, I mean, for me, personal experience was cup of noodles. Okay. Cup o noodles. The styrofoam cup.
Yeah.
You pour the water, right? Cup o noodles. I've been eating those my whole life. Right. And somebody, it was like on one of the shows here, goes, did you know that it was always cup noodles? I go, man, no. What are you talking about? So then I jump and I do the research. It's always been, it's cup noodles. Cup noodles. And I looked at all the historical pictures, the product launch. And I was like, no. And I couldn't find cup of noodles anywhere at all. And my mind was so blown on this that I don't know how to accept it unless it's exactly like what Lidu says. You can change the past, but you can't change the memories.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And there's dozens of these examples, like the Monopoly man with the monocle. He doesn't have a monocle. or Pikachu with like a black tail at the end. It's like Pikachu doesn't have that. Or there's dozens and dozens of examples, and I'm one of the people that seems to remember the ones that aren't actually true for the most part, which is like, what's going on there? Are we shifting realities into something else?
What are they going to tell me, that David Lee Roth was never in Van Halen? What's next, right? You know what I mean? And you go back and you look, and David Lee Roth is erased from Van Halen and removed from the album covers, where you're like, no, I know about this. That is fascinating with Lidu, by the way. She's such a beautiful soul, isn't she? She is just beyond words incredible.
I've got a story about that.
Please tell me. She's brought me to tears, man.
Oh yeah.
She's brought me to
incredible.
tears.
She's incredible. She's a walking miracle. And when people see her and they're in her presence, miracles do happen. So this was, I think it was during one of the trainings that we did. I had this idea. I'm like, hey, Lidu, like, can I help you with hypnosis? Like, would that help you like embody your body better? And she responds with, yeah, please do it. I'm like, okay, should we do it now? And she's like, no, better to do it later. She knew that there was a training that was going to happen, one that we did in Layton, in Utah, before we even knew that was going to be happening. And she said to do it then. And anyway, Layton training comes up. I have some free time. Lidu and I and my fiance, we go into this like a breakout room kind of thing in the conference center. And I start doing hypnosis. And she says to do the hypnosis telepathically, because she's telepathic, you know. So she said, don't do it like verbally, just do it telepathically in my mind. And I was like, okay, should we do this maybe with all the other kids as well, all the other telepathic kids? And she's like, no, all of them are going to be there when you're doing it. And it was, yeah. And it was the wildest thing ever, because we did about 45 minutes. I was there with Lidu, like we had like our foreheads together. Sometimes she'd be moving out.
Right.
I'd be telepathically, man, like I'd be counting her down, like, okay, 10, you know, relax your feet, you know, feel yourself getting more comfortable, yada yada. 9, 8, 7. I took her through the process. I did hypnosis, but I wasn't speaking a word. And my fiance, she was with Lidu, and she was distracting her body, and she was talking to her, she was playing with her, she was getting, I think she got her like a can of soda as well at one point. And Lidu was moving around and was doing stuff. Meanwhile, I'm just like doing it telepathically, and every now and then I'm checking, I'm like, hey, like, is this still going? And she like turned to me like, you know, like, yes. And then she'd go back to my fiance, you know. And the thing happened, and then afterwards I checked, because I wasn't sure if things were actually going on, because her body was moving, it was talking, it was doing stuff. And she said, no, we did, the hypnosis worked. There was other kids there, they got the benefit as well. And I found out later as well that she was moving better as well. She was more embodied, because that's one of the things that they have, is this disconnect a little bit of the body and the spirit, or the soul.
You know what I dig about her? I dig everything about her, but she has amazing fashion sense.
Yeah.
You follow me, don't you?
Yes.
She wants this to be correct, right?
Yes.
Her hair, her thing. Okay. So you see that part of her. She's so beautiful inside and out, but that part of her, her fashion sense, it's man, it's an observation of mine, but I'm always wondering what she's going to be wearing next. You know, what's her hair going to be today? She's got the most wonderful hair. Like, right. So anyway, we're up on stage, and I have so many fun stories with her, but this was a pretty cool moment. So she's up on stage, and I make this comment. I said, man, your outfit today is just incredible. And she does that thing where she turns and smiles, right? She turns away from you.
Yeah.
And so she did that. So this is what happens. It's just me, Dahlia, and Lidu. It's the three of us. And we have maybe 500 people in front of us. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, you know, a miracle's about to happen, but it's going to happen to me. And so Dahlia asked me to write a question on a card. Okay. So the question and I wanted something simple, but something that was impossible as well. So the question was, what color is the sun? Okay. That's what I wrote. And nobody saw it. And I show it to the audience, you know, to the few people in the front row. And I bring the card back to me. And friggin' Lidu, I'm standing there and I watch her go, why? It's like, no. ELLOW. Now, a skeptic, please explain that to me. Explain that to me like I'm 4 years old. Just tell me how. Because what I'm seeing here is the brain and consciousness hard at work. That's it. What else does the world need? And
Here's the thing, though, Jimmy.
but this is my question to you. How do you frame that for a skeptic? What is it that they need to see? What is it? You know what I mean? And this is something that you've been tackling for a very long time.
Yeah. The thing is, Jimmy, it's like, if somebody's a skeptic, they're always going to be a skeptic. Like if somebody wants to hold on to the idea that isn't true, you can fake all this stuff. Like you could have known she was going to ask the question. Like this is their explanations. You would have known that you're going to ask that question. She has an earpiece. She's actually faking it. Like there's always a way to come up with an explanation. And the thing is, like with what we're doing, and what you're doing too, right? You're bringing a message out to people, an important message out to people, to directly or indirectly elevate consciousness. You are not going to make everyone believe you or hear this message from the get-go, right? We are so fringe, like we're fringe of fringe. There's such a small audience that is into this stuff, and our job isn't to convince like everyone, because there's always going to be people that are not going to believe it. But it's about getting those people that are already on that precipice. Like, is this real? Is this stuff true? Like, then those are the ones that are going to be coming to your show or listening to you. Those are the ones that are going to be coming to my training and doing it. But it's not like, man, I don't care. That's the other thing. Like, I don't care about convincing like the skeptics. Like, there's people that want to do that. And that ain't my job, It's clearly not your job. So screw those guys, Freaking leave them in the dust.
It's fun. But skeptics are low-hanging fruit, Alex. It's fun to slap them around. You know what I mean? And okay, you're right. And we were talking about that earlier. If somebody's foundational belief system is what it is, you're not going to reason them off of it. You're not. And skeptics are one of them. So what if that skeptic was me on that stage and they wrote the question? Now, this just came up from Lux. She probably pulled it out of the field, especially if you're near, it's easier. Exactly. Right? So whether she perceived that I was already thinking yellow and I don't care where the miracle starts or stops, but what happened. It's how that goes down. What is she seeing? Is she seeing the color yellow? Is that what bursts into her head? Is she telepathically just inside of my head, and this is super easy for her, right? I don't know. Is she laughing at us because we're so impressed with this ability, and for her it's just a thing, right? So if a skeptic gets up on the stage and goes through that same process, is it enough to move the needle to where everything can be accepted, at least to the point where we're not being looked at as people that are hoaxing or tricking, or we have some deep psychotic issue that we're dealing with?
Deep psychotic issue. I hope not.
Yeah, I know.
Man, if you could prove it to them like that, but it would be like one at a time, right? You have to take them one at a time to prove to the hardest skeptics. And why do that? Just get the people that are ready, that believe in it. And like with any sort of adoption, any sort of shift in, like, this is a mass shift of consciousness that's happening, and we've got at least 0.25% of the population that are ready, maybe 1%. So we start with those ones, and then as we do those, the same with, is it Roger Bannister, the 4-minute mile? Is it?
Oh yeah,
what I'm talking about?
The impossible 4-minute mile. Yes.
Yeah, there's no way that's gonna happen, and nobody believed it. And then the moment he did it, I think within that week there was like another 4, 5, or 6 people that broke the 4-minute mile. So this is like what we're doing, and this is the point of what we're doing. We're breaking that 4-minute mile, and then other people are going to go past it. And then at some point, more and more the early adopters come in, the normies come in, and then the hardline skeptics finally come in.
Well, is there a bigger existential issue here, though? Let's say that the breakthrough happens, and it will at some point, but let's say the breakthrough happens, and all of a sudden the planet is telepathic. Then our privacy is no longer our own. Our thoughts are no longer ours. Is that a bigger issue? That's a serious implication, right? A byproduct of this freedom of thought.
Yeah, 100%. And what's currently happening, because we talked about the Russians, the Americans, the other programs, remote influencing, like that's already happening. There's already people in organizations that are able to pick up on our thoughts and pick up on things. So that exists. The difference will be that then the masses are going to have it. We're going to have it as well. And people, because I've dealt with this question many times before, because I do telepathy trainings. It's like, yeah, but then what happens to, can people read my mind, my privacy? We're not going to like go from no telepathy to freaking, word for word telepathy. Like that's not how this stuff works. We're going to go from like no telepathy to, Jimmy's, he's feeling good, or, he's having an off day, or, he's feeling good because, maybe he's looking forward to meeting someone, or he's having an off day because somebody says to give him some bad news. So it's like these incremental things that move. It's not going to be all at once. So society isn't going to just like be thrown into the deep end where I know what you're thinking, I know what they're thinking, I know what they're thinking, and they know what I'm thinking. It's going to be this like slow like melding, the slow development into a place that is going to be like beautiful. Like, man, Jimmy, you're a great guy. You're a really nice guy. I like you. Like, I really like you a lot. And I've met you we met, I don't know how many times now. You're a freaking awesome guy. I hope you think I'm an awesome guy. But I have no idea if you think I'm an awesome guy, because you've never told me like, yo, Alex, you're a really cool dude. I like you. I think, you're a great guy. I've never told that to you. But with a smidge of telepathy, you'll get that from me. You'll get these positive feelings from me. I'll get the positive feelings from you. And then I'll feel better, and then I'm feeling better. You'll be feeling better. We meet someone else, and then that person gets the same kind of positive feelings. And that just starts to increase, and it increases the resonance, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the awareness.
Yeah.
Well, you and I always smile at each other when we see each other. So we do that, right?
Yeah.
And I understand the slow process. That's the human side of it. Now let's go to the dark side for a minute. If AI and machine learning and large language models continue on their path, and then the crazy thing happens, like computers become sentient. If a computer wants to, at that point, become telepathic, it could possibly become telepathic, right? And because that's where we are with AI. We're trying to AGI is the ultimate, right? We get to that, and then everything is over at that point. Machines will take over. But average general intelligence. If a computer if an AI system decides that that's what it wants to do, it could do that really, 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 really fast, like in nanoseconds. Does that scare you? And do you think that is a possibility?
Yes, it's concerning, especially because not to freak anybody out, but I'm aware of a lot of experiments being done with AI being able to fairly accurately remote view. There's people with a lot of money that are pushing these kinds of things, and I've heard of other things like they're trying to put entities in AI, like trying to put negative, positive, neutral entities into AI with magic, with psi abilities, and hand that over to them. So, like, yeah, that's messed up. That can be very bad. And I don't know, right? We've had when there's been some nuclear things happening where, like, nuclear plants blowing up, they've seen aliens going around to help with that. Aliens have went around to shut down or interfere with some nuclear weapons as well, right? I don't know. I think if we're gonna die and everything was gonna be obliterated, it would have happened by now. So I'm positive and optimistic that although I'm aware of those things that are going on, hopefully we'll be okay.
See, here's the whole thing with that type of framework is right now we've got like zero guardrails on AI. There's no AI czar, no laws on the books. It's the Wild West. Well, okay. So I'd like to stay positive like you. And I like to think that the people behind these technologies and running these companies, hopefully, are just good people.
No way.
Right?
No way.
Look, you got to look. What's the alternative? You want to think, and so I like to think that way. All right, I'm not naive, but
Yeah.
Okay, but in whatever technology or whatever is out there, you've always got people with bad intentions. That's it. And you
Yeah.
can't control that. The thought of what's going on at CERN and the ideas that have been thrown out there that, they've opened up portals and they've let in entities and it was by accident. Maybe it was by design. Don't know. Don't even know if it really happened. But those things are there. Well, okay. Now, what if there's just a physicist that is bored, that's angry, maybe lost his job, right? Oh, I'll teach them, man. I'm going to open up a vortex to Hades, right? You know what I mean? And well, you're going to have that too with AI.
Yeah.
You're going to have somebody that's just doesn't have the moral compass that most of us have. And that's the scary part. We haven't seen it yet, at least not overtly, like out in front. But yeah, I'm sure that stuff, I've heard the same rumors that you've had. Yeah, absolutely. That there is some demonic AI running around out there right now that they're trying to keep in check. Well, of course, of course that would happen eventually. It's the sentient AI that scares me.
Yeah. Yeah, because the sentient AI is not going to be programmable, is going to start thinking for itself, is going to start seeing other things. And if AI gets consciousness and we have consciousness and we have access to all these abilities, what would happen with AI? Dude, yeah. And it's not even about, people are worried that, the big companies are doing something it's like you said, it could just be a small group of hackers, it could be anybody or a country that has some malevolence. And if AI is at the level where it can start thinking for itself, it can start defending itself, it's almost like it becomes a biological weapon with
Yes.
sentience.
Yes. Yes. It only takes one unemployed Russian computer engineer. You know what I mean? Sitting around the house, drinking vodka, pissed off. We joke, right? And it sounds funny, but it could be really as simple as that. That's
Yeah.
that's the issue for me. Are there any other deep implications with telepathy and that type of communication that you've been thinking about?
With AI, or you mean just with telepathy?
No, just in general. Yeah, telepathy and telekinesis.
Well, what's interesting, like if you zoom out on what's happening, we've got UFOs and disclosure going on. UAPs, actually, right? It's UAPs now. It's not UFOs. I'm working on old programming. You got that stuff happening. You've also got these psi abilities picking up pace. I find it interesting that at the point when we're becoming aware that there's other beings, other entities that communicate telepathically, right? That operate crafts psychically. Now is also the time that we are developing our own telepathy, and we're becoming open to that, and we're developing our own psychic powers, our psionic capabilities. There's like both of these things are happening, and we're at again this precipice again. Like, what are the chances that these things will be happening at the same time? So my suspicion is, I wonder if telepathy is being developed because we're going to start being in communication now, telepathic communication with other beings, with other entities, because that's how we know that they communicate, right? Or a lot of them communicate that way. Why is this coming up now? Yeah,
Right.
They have to. And crafts like I've spoken, I have on very good information that the crafts are operated psychically, psionically, with telekinesis, and like the way you see stuff in the craft is with stuff like mindsight, with extraocular vision, with remote viewing. Like, the fact that these are coming out now, and then we're also developing these abilities, to me, it's like this is happening for that reason, because we're being brought into this now, and this is happening. We're being prepared to communicate telepathically, to use our consciousness to now operate technology. Like tech is not going to be separate from consciousness anymore. The two things are going to be interwoven. Elon Musk just trademarked or tried to trademark, I don't know if he did, telepathy. Like, how do you trademark telepathy, right? So that's where my mind goes, and that's what I think we're heading into.
If we're having these thoughts and these discussions, then DARPA has been doing this for 30 years already. Right? You follow me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just think that and Stargate and SRI and the CIA and okay, they're Pat Price, right? You know, we can have all of those discussions, but the ideas of recording consciousness, recording dreams, a human brain interface going into a computer and downloading and uploading your thoughts or your memories or a dream that you turn into a movie. What, you know, I gotta say, that's already here. I don't think that there is any question that we have that technology. It may not be in the public sector yet, but these are things, computers were developed a long time ago. The ideas of plugging something into your head and recording your consciousness and uploading and downloading and putting that on a chip. All you have to do, Alex, as you know, is suggest this to a team of engineers, give them the idea, and they'll get it done. You know, that's how this happened. right?
Mm.
You know, it's just an idea. The Dick Tracy watch, seeing that in comic books in the 1950s. Well, you're giving people the idea for that,
Mm.
right? The video phone. How comical is that? It's a joke. It's a joke. Everybody's got that now, but it wasn't long ago where that was just a crazy dream of something that is impossible. So that's, I am sure that we have those abilities right now. Absolutely. And the ideas of entanglement, which you brought up earlier, that can be applied to anything.
Mm.
So why wouldn't companies and DARPA and Janet and all those other crazy think tanks, right? The RAND Corporation, they're focusing on these ideas. They have to be. And there is no second place.
Second place?
Yeah. Whoever gets to this first is the winner.
Yes.
But there is no second
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's also why I'm like, we need to get this telepathy stuff going. Like, people need to be picking this up. We need to be making the 4-minute mile. Because, yeah, these are real weapons. And for our own safety, as well. That makes sense. But then how do we combat that stuff?
Right. How complete is telepathy for you? I mean, how far along are you with it?
You and I'll pick up on some smidges of stuff. But with our training, with the training that I've done, like we can get to the point where we would hear the numbers or cards that we were playing with, or like objects. So you can get to a point where you can actually hear the person saying it. But
can we do it right now?
I probably would need to get in rapport. Like, there's a bit of building that would happen.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, but no, let's have some fun.
Yeah,
We got
try
a couple
with
minutes
senses
left.
though, not just the inner dialogue telepathy, not just like the word.
Sure.
And this is how Lidu talks about it as well. Get all of the stuff involved, so that you're sending more than just the word stuff. Is more advanced exercises.
Sure. Okay, so I'll help you along. Okay. Here is a Sharpie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a blank piece of paper. I am going to write a number on this paper. Now, I'm going to put it right here in front of me. I'm going to think about it. Let's just see if it comes through. And I'll help you a couple of things. This is my favorite number.
3.
This is my favorite number. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Oh, but let me think about it. I wasn't thinking about it. So let me think about it.
Oh.
That was good, though. That was pretty random. Okay. I'm going to look at it. Just let me think about it. And I'm going to give you a couple of pictures of this. And we'll just see if it comes through. Oh, okay. I'm going to do one other thing, because I'm going to send you this image too in my head. I'm going to write something underneath this number, and we'll see if this helps. Just for fun. This is no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
It ain't 69, is it, Jimmy?
No. Do you see a color?
Yeah, I picked up a color, green, if that has anything. I wasn't even aware you were sending something with that.
The color is associated with the number for me. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it is, and you tell me if you felt anything. So the number was 14, and the color was orange. Did you feel anything? It's okay to say no.
I'm back rationalizing now, and there was a lot of things that came up. I had 44 come up, which is similar with that.
Yeah, that would have been trippy.
That's also, I don't like, because again, I'm a numbers guy and I deal with probabilities. If I had 3 numbers show up, by the way, 69 was a joke. I didn't actually see 6. I didn't think that was. But if I have like 44, and then I also have 17, and then I have another one, it's very likely that I could be like, okay, well, 17, plus 40, you have the 17, you have the 14, that's the 44. You can always kind of back rationalize and make it fit. And I'm careful not to err on that side. So I had some stuff coming up, but I like to be more.
So we should try this off the air at some point. So what I was sending you, AJ Foyt was my favorite race car driver growing up. His number on his cars was 14. His cars were painted orange. So I was picturing his race car with the number, and that's why I wrote the orange. That's what I was sending you to maybe to see if that would pop in your head. We're also not in the same room. You're in Romania. I'm out here in Los Angeles, right? And we're doing that. But
these things can also easily be faked. So, for example, because there's a lot of mentalists that do this, and it looks like it's astounding. But for example, with what just happened now, there's a green guitar on your background that is just above you. That one, so I saw green. It's very possible that had an influence on me. This is how a mentalist would do it. They would set something up so that it's in the background, you wouldn't even be aware of it.
Right.
And they're feeding ideas.
Right.
Like I've done an apprenticeship with a hypnotist who was a street hypnotist as well as a hypnotherapist, and he showed me a way to basically get somebody to choose a number. And when they'd be talking to you, they'd be doing like this. And if I wanted to get 14, for example, I might be going like that, putting 4 digits ahead, or like I'm thinking, and they'll have one number up like that, 1 digit up like that. And there's all of these little techniques that are like being used to seed an idea. So there's influence that's happening, and you're picking up on stuff. Your unconscious mind is picking up on stuff.
Right.
But the trick with telepathy is like getting the discernment to not pick up on the things that are coming from your actual senses,
right?
But that are actually coming from inside, from that sixth sense, that information.
Yeah, how do you that's got to be the challenge, to get rid of the clutter, right? To get rid of the distortion.
Yeah. You first off, you need to be in a state where it's like it can't be a performative state. If you're in a performative state, you've got an inner dialogue going on. If you have an inner dialogue going on, you're not going to be picking up on stuff.
Like you and I right
really
now.
Subtle.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
It's very, very subtle things. And something that's amazing for this is hypnosis, because you take somebody into trance, you bring them down into, an alpha level, more relaxed state, or even lower. That's when the inner dialogue, it just ceases. And that's when you start to pick up on, that's when people get visions. That's how shamanic journeys happen. And that's also how telepathy can happen, right? Because that's when you pick up on things. So hypnosis is amazing to start in training somebody, getting them into that space more and more and more often. Until then, they're able to go on into that more on demand. And also, there's also a little bit of, like, you're doing it with a partner, and you're doing it with that partner for a while. So you have this, there's a resonance, there's a field, an energetic thing. Those things they start to converge, you start to match. And that's when telepathy starts to become really easy.
Where can everybody follow your work and chase you down?
My socials are im.alexstefan. I'm on Instagram, YouTube. There's I have some free videos there for people to learn this stuff on their own. And then I do trainings on www.extra-ordinaries.com. We have one happening with Chris Bledsoe in July, where he's going to be doing sky watches at night, and we're going to be using the psychic abilities you learn in the day with us for that stuff. And we also have a telepathy training in Sedona in July, and then we have one in Bali, which is like a 10-day thing, and there's some other things going on as well. But yeah, www.extra-ordinaries.
Yeah, there's a Dahlia right there. I'm looking at Extraordinaries. It's extra-ordinaries.com. We have the links below, and also to your personal website too as well. And Alex, thank you so much. Great to see you again, my friend.
Thanks,
and I don't know when we're going to get to hang out again soon, but I look forward to it. Just thank you for your contributions to this community and to the world, and keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Jimmy. And thank you too as well. You're getting a very important message across, man. I appreciate that as well.
You're the best, Alex. Thank you, brother.
See you, brother.
Talk to you soon. Be safe over there in Romania. You know, the werewolves, the vampires running around. Thank you so much, Alex. The links for Alex are below. I do want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Clyde Lewis is here with us. It's been a minute. I've been on Clyde's show a couple of times this year, but he hasn't been on Fade to Black for a while. Tomorrow night, Clyde Lewis joins us here. It's Ground Zero on Fade to Black. I'll see everybody tomorrow night, but until then, all I've got is Go Back Lee Tap. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.